Welcome back to My View. The MAHA movement has made great strides in raising awareness about the quality of our food systems and the rise of chronic disease, uniting parents from across the political aisle. But arguably, none of this would be possible without MAHA moms. They're a devoted group of mothers who are increasingly concerned about the health and well-being of their families. And they've shown they're not afraid to speak up.
The Make America Healthy Again movement is an answer to my prayers. I have 4 children. I'm concerned for their health and their children's health.
My children were sick, all 3 of them. I was told they're just going to need to be on chronic medications forever, and that's going to keep their diseases at bay. And I just refused to take that answer for one more day. So I started changing our diet. I changed our lifestyles. All our kids came off medications. And because my children's lives change, my health changed.
Unbelievable, but the Democrats and liberal media have tried to smear them as conspiracy theorists. But today, we're going to get the facts. Self-proclaimed MAHA mom, former Sports Illustrated model, and founder of Super True, Kristen Luell-Gaffney, is here along with internist, addiction medicine specialist, and chief patient officer for the wellness company, one of America's doctors, Dr. Drew Pinsky. Welcome to both of you.
Congratulations.
Thank
Such a
you
privilege
very
to
much.
be here.
So cool.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Well, this is such an important topic and something people, Kristen, are so interested in. And with good reason. I think all of us wonder, is what we're giving our kids making them healthier or making them sicker? Do you feel like, as a MAHA mom yourself, that the reason people continue to kind of go down the wrong path with health and nutrition for their kids is just because we've been given bad information or maybe the wrong information?
I absolutely say that it is a lack of information and education, really. I mean, we're learning about crazy things in school when we should be learning about how to do your taxes, how to take care of your body and your family. And like RFK has said, obviously I stand behind him, is it's pissed off moms that honestly are going to make this change.
Yeah.
And it does come to lack of education. I think most parents do have good intentions, but it does come to lack of education. So we just need to work on educating ourselves. And social media, you love it, you hate it, but we're finding out so much because of this movement.
It's true. And Dr. Drew, you say the food industry is a business not of nutrition, but of addiction. Tell me about that.
They've created the people that brought us tobacco and the strategies used and the lobbyists used and the marketing strategies used all moved on over to food. Food companies bought the tobacco companies, moved those people over, and now they created addictive foods. But when it comes to MAHA, I just want you to know there's going to be layers and layers and layers to this.
Right.
The first layer is we've got to ask questions. It's clear we're not healthy. Why? What are the answers to that? And I think you put some data up about our age of death is dropping.
Yes.
We're doing much more poorly than other countries. Lots of theories as to why. I'm going to tell you that addiction and psychiatric problems, we haven't even gotten to that yet. And that is going to be a major contributor as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the food supply alone, you could spend how long on that, but you're right, there are all these different layers to it.
Just look at the food pyramid. It's been wrong for 50 years. Why did you do that, government? Why does the government have to screw everything up?
It's because if we're fat, sick, poor, infertile, and blatantly stupid, there's a business. It's a $1 trillion industry.
It's a lot of money
follow
to
the
be
money. I'm so optimistic about this country and people. I can't quite do that, but you're probably right. It's follow the money. Let's undo that.
Hey, the only difference between a conspiracy theorist and the truth is 6 months.
That's what they say, or even 6 weeks these days, Kristen. Kristen, what are some tips that you would give to parents out there who say, look, I don't even know where to start, but I know that I want to start doing better for my kids?
Yeah, I think it starts at home. And I think that we forget that we have so much powers within our households. It can be as small as you're the snack mom at soccer this week. Lead by example. Our kids are watching us. My child is here right now in studio because I want to show him what I'm doing. And we have a voice clearly. The moms got behind this movement. Look what we've done so far, and I cannot wait to see what we do.
Dr. Drew, there's an overwhelming number of medical schools who actually don't do any sort of nutrition whenever you're teaching our future doctors. What is that?
Well, what that is, and I've defended that over the years, is that we're so busy taking care of disease and trying to deal with the things that shorten life, we cannot get involved with the phenomenon, the foods, the nutrition that lengthen life. And we are at a crossroads now when we can actually do things to lengthen life. I can tell that you, and I think the 3 of us, working out, exercise, resistance training. That is number one. We should all be doing that. Number two, as you mentioned, the hard work of proper choices. It's not easy. The addictive, yummy stuff, much easier. We're busy. Kids sort of blow through us with their demands. No, we got to do the hard work of standing firm and making good choices. And if they've gotten off track, remember, change is hard, and do that work to make sure they're able to make proper nutritional choices and get them on sports and working out early.
Absolutely.
Make it a part
And
of
like
life.
you said, we have an industry that is reactive. As moms, like going back to your question, we need to start being proactive. What can we do now to avoid the issues in the future?
And it's hard. Look, I know.
It's hard. That's the bottom line. Acknowledge that it's hard.
It's hard too. My kids are 5 and 7. How old do you have?
8, 7, and 2.
Okay, so my kids come home from school, and I do my best to pack them these healthy lunches.
Yeah.
And they say, so-and-so's got this fruit roll-up thing. Can I get that next week? And I'm like, oh, what do you tell your kid? You took matters, though, Kristen, into your own hand and started your own food company.
Yeah, and my story really was my kids were doing sports and they were left with that token cutie orange. And I felt like this mom, like, oh, well, all the other kids are getting this. So I said, screw it, I'll make my own. But like I said, I want to lead by example. And I think what's important for me and what I try to tell my kids and other parents is I educate them as to the why. You want them to have a healthy relationship with food and activity. So why can't you have that? Or why are we having this or doing this and having this activity instead, so that they're learning and having a healthy relationship?
And to be fair, we sort of breathe rarefied air. You and I certainly do in terms of understanding the why. A lot of people don't know, and we need to do a better job of getting people up to speed.
Yeah, well, part of it is educating people, and part of it, Dr. Drew, is just calling out the problem. And I think that's why RFK Jr. is such a big deal as our HHS.
There are so many, I have such high hopes for him. When it comes to medical literature, medical publication, the cozy relationship with the FDA and pharmaceutical company, the food industry. The one thing I just want questions asked, and I want real answers. That's really what I'm looking for. I don't want us to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We do lots of good things too, but we must have answers to some questions that are really adversely impacting our health. You would never create a healthcare system like this de novo. The healthcare system we have in this country is insane. We would never create it like this. It's time to re-empower the patients, re-empower the individuals, re-empower the doctor-patient relationship, let people make their own choices, get the government out of it. Guess what? Things work better then.
Yeah. Kristen, what would your hope be 4 years from now as Donald Trump is ending his second term in office? We've had, RFK Jr. in as our HHS secretary for 4 years. What would be your big hope for the future of this country?
You know what's so funny is before the president was elected, my hope was just to have awareness. But what we've seen just in a month he's been in office.
Amazing.
Action. It is all about action. So I am so excited to actually see bills go across the table, get signed. Like he was saying, I just want to have a healthy relationship with the government, with our doctors. Provide education in schools would be my number one. As a parent, that's my number one wish, is to have some real education, not just a class in education around health.
And, RFK's history has been about dismantling complex systems, looking at the adulterating influences. That's first order business here. What's gone wrong?
Right.
What do we need to do to correct it? So patients and doctors and families are able to do what they need to do on their own. We don't have to be up there, in their lives all the time. We don't make things better. We have made things worse. Is there not evidence of that?
Unfortunately, that's the truth. What is the number one thing you get asked? I mean, you're Dr. Drew. People must come to you all the time and say, tell me something I need to know about what's going on. There's so much information. What do you get asked all the time?
I get asked everything, to be fair. I guess, I get asked about GLP-1s all the time, and I'm gravely concerned. I'm gravely concerned about overprescribing generally.
Yeah.
That we as physicians have a tendency to open our prescription pad up and just take a medication, and we don't have time to do anything else. When the reality is the time spent with patient, the time helping them change, the hard work of the interpersonal, the patient-doctor relationship, we've left that out completely.
Yeah.
And restoring that would really help us make people healthy.
Do you ever see a day where we have insurance companies paying for people to stay healthier instead of paying for them after they're sick?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I wish the insurance companies would just get out of the doctor-patient relationship. And if there's nothing we can do as physicians that the insurance company isn't judging, second-guessing, telling us what we can and can't do. It should be the physician judgment is the reason the patient gets the care, and that's it. And we just go from there.
There's no money in us being healthy, but how nice would it be if you had
you're so conspiratorial.
I know, right? Hey,
but
check
you may
the
be
numbers.
right. You could
check
be
the
right.
numbers, all right, guys. But if there was a prescription to a gym membership or a
Yes.
treadmill or a meal
There's some
service,
companies that do that,
yes,
right?
which is
And it's great.
amazing. That's amazing.
But
So-
we've got to get people to do it. This is
Yes,
the hard
yes.
part.
Well, we're
Behavior
hopeful.
change is hard, and we
We're
must do
hopeful.
it.
Well,
We
it
must
starts
do it.
here today. Dr. Drew, Kristen, thank you both so much. Okay, so Gary Brecka, we're so excited to sit down with you today. I don't even know how to address you, a health guru, a biohacker. Tell me what it is you do and how you ended up doing all of this, because so many people turn to you to learn how to improve their health.
Yeah, well, by schooling, I'm a human biologist. My undergraduate degrees were in biology, my postgraduate degrees are in human biology. But for years, I worked in a niche market of life insurance, trying to predict mortality to the month. So we used big data to try to decide how many more months people had left on Earth. And what emerged from this data was that the reason why people are not living healthier, happier, longer, more fulfilling lives were for what we called modifiable risk factors, meaning things that they could change in their lifestyle that would permanently change the trajectory of their life.
Why do you feel like now people are finally starting to say, you know what, maybe things haven't been working the right way. Maybe there are some major changes our country can make. And what is it you would like to see happen over the next 4 years with President Trump, with RFK Jr., in these leadership roles to change America and make us healthy again?
Well, I think you had a couple of things come together, like a perfect storm, right? We emerged from the pandemic, and no matter what side of the pandemic you were on, pro-vaccine, anti-vaccine, your life was touched by the pandemic. And I think it woke people up and they said, you know what, I need to take my healthcare choices into my own hands. We're at a crisis point in America. 77% of our military-aged men and women don't qualify for military service due to poor health. You've got 13% of our teens have fatty liver disease. We have the highest rates of childhood cancer in recorded history. We just have to get back to what God gave us, not what man makes us. Getting the poisons out of our food supply. I'm super excited about Bobby Kennedy and your father-in-law's union. I mean, people from polar opposite ends of the spectrum unifying over children and health and healing. And I just find it odd that anybody can be on the opposite side of that coin.
I think a lot of people have been under the impression that the way you cure a disease is to take a drug. But I think we're coming upon a time in our society where maybe we're going to hopefully phase a lot of that out. Do you feel like that is also part of the MAHA movement?
I think that's a huge part of the MAHA movement. When I interviewed Callie Means, one of the things that he said that always just sat with me was, there's nothing more profitable than a sick child. And as sad as that statistic is, it's a statement of fact, right? We're starting children earlier and earlier and earlier on the hamster wheel. So I think this whole MAHA movement is about getting to the root cause, getting physical education back in the public school system, getting the processed foods out of our children's diets, getting the highly inflammatory foods out of our children's diets. I mean, they deserve to thrive. And that's what I think really laid the perfect foundation for Bobby Kennedy to come in and really take control of a narrative that people are willing to hear.
President Trump has promised to restore the American dream in this country. A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. 60% of our population has only one dream, that they get better.
If you look at what he's really talking about and describe the MAHA movement, we're talking about getting poisons, herbicides, insecticides, pesticides, preservatives, things that our body doesn't recognize, that cause chemical reactions on our body that make us sicker. And so who's against getting those things out of the food supply? This is how you get a food pyramid that says that Lucky Charms is more nutritious than grass-fed steak.
It's crazy.
Right?
I think something else that people have heard about, they've heard it a lot through Bobby Kennedy. He was very outspoken about it. Seed oils.
Yes.
For people who say, I don't know what a seed oil is, but I constantly hear about it, what is that?
So seed oils are your canola, rapeseed, sunflower, safflower, vegetable oils. And very often it's not, people think we're attacking the plant. I'm not attacking the sunflower. I'm attacking the distance from the plant to the table. So when you take a plant like a rapeseed, which is canola, and you put it in a commercial press and it comes out gummy, and you degum it with hexane, which is a known neurotoxin, and then you take that degummed oil and you heat it to 405 degrees. This turns it rancid. It putrefies it. And then we stick a heart healthy label on it and we say that these polyunsaturated fatty acids are part of a heart healthy diet. That is complete nonsense. They're part of a heart inflammatory diet. Inflammation is the root of all evil. Here are the 5 oils you need in your life. An olive oil at room temperature. You can cook in coconut oil, grass-fed butter, ghee butter, or coconut oil. These are oils that don't denature at high temperatures. Use an olive oil or an avocado oil at room temperature and get the rest of those seed oils permanently out of your life.
What would you say to an adult in the United States right now who says, I don't even know where to start? What are your top do's for somebody to lead a healthier life?
First of all, pay attention to your sleep. Sleep is our human superpower.
I won't tell you how much sleep I get on an average night, Gary, because you'll be horrified.
Don't tell me.
Oh my gosh.
But I'll fix it for you.
Okay.
Consistency in bedtime and getting on a good circadian rhythm is probably the single biggest thing that you can do to improve the outcome of your day the next day. Do a contrast shower before you go to bed. Get in hot water, let it run in the back of your neck, step out of that stream of water, turn it cold, step into that cold stream of water. I know, guys, just deal with it for 30 seconds, break the catecholamine cycle in the brain. Dry off, and when you climb into bed, make your room as cold and dark as you possibly can.
I do that.
Stay off your screens at night. If you have to be on your phone at night, turn the red light setting on your phone. Blue light raises your cortisol, which is a waking hormone, right? So at night, we're having light come into our eyes that says, hey, wake up, when we're actually trying to go to sleep.
And what about eating-wise? What would you say you should get this out of your diet or put this in your diet immediately today to see a difference?
Let's boil diets down to the absolute facts, right? Look at the blue zones. If you look at all of the blue zones around the world, what was the continuity between all of those diets? They were all whole foods. No one was eating a highly processed diet and living a long lifetime. So the secret to living a long life is eating whole foods. Meat, fish, chicken, eggs, vegetables, coconut oil, olive oil, nuts, avocados, whole foods in their whole form. The highly processed diet is what sends our cellular biology into a tailspin.
So for people who maybe have a desk job, who are sedentary throughout the day, what would you tell them to do?
You don't have to have 90 minutes in the morning to move your day around. I know there's a lot of busy moms and dads and career professionals out there that get out of bed and they're on the move as soon as they get out of bed. 15-minute walk then, 15 minutes after lunch, 15 minutes after dinner. That little bit of mobility helps pull the glucose out of your bloodstream, improve your insulin sensitivity, and that alone is one of the leading causes of metabolic syndrome, and it's completely preventable with lifestyle changes.
Let me ask you about the word biohacker, because I think a lot of people have heard that word. You call yourself a biohacker.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
You know, it's trying to do more with less. It's like, what is the best thing I can do for my cellular biology? And there's so many gadgets and gizmos out there that, you know, you can get paralysis of analysis. The best biohacking devices mimic what we get from Mother Nature.
So finally, you know, with the MAHA movement, with AI kind of up and coming, I feel like we're in a space where people are saying, I don't know, if we're healthier and we have the ability to utilize AI in a specific way, could we see the longevity of humankind expand?
There's no question that artificial intelligence, big data, and early detection are the greatest 3 inventions in terms of the longevity of humanity. I believe if you're alive in 5 years, it will be your choice whether or not you want to live to 120, potentially 140 years old.
Wow.
Well, the Department of Agriculture is now warning that Americans could see the price of eggs spike more than 40%. But the Trump administration is working on a solution, committing more than $1 billion to combat the bird flu and the egg shortage. Here to break it all down for us is our new Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. Brooke, it's so great to have you on. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Rachel.
So I'm looking at this. The cost of eggs is expected to go up 40% this year. I know that you had like a round table with like 24 farmers. And what did you guys gather, and what are you guys going to do at the Department of Agriculture to address the avian flu and the prices of eggs?
You know, Rachel, I think it's first it should be said that watching what happened in the White House yesterday and with the president, you know, America is back and the strength of leadership, but that's really across the board. How are we going to solve all of these massive problems and challenges that were brought to us by the Biden administration? And certainly in my lane, not with Ukraine and not foreign policy, but with domestic policy and certainly with prices that our consumers are facing. That single mom in Detroit, you know, she may know what's going on and she may be glad that we have, you know, peace through strength across the world, but she is much more concerned with how expensive eggs have gotten, right? And how she's going to feed her family. And I know you're a mom of a bunch of kids. I'm a mom of a lot of kids too, not as many as you. So this is a real deal. Listen, under the Biden administration, egg prices increased 237%. The cost of groceries, the cost of everything went up 25, 30%, but eggs specifically. And there were a lot of reasons for that. One of the drivers is the avian bird flu, which has required almost 160 million birds have been depopulated, which is a real fancy term for basically killed, so that we could try to stop the flu. Most of that happened under the Biden administration. So what do we do to fix it? So we've repurposed funds from USDA to push back on that. Part of that money is going to be used for biosecurity measures, which is locking the barns down. The avian flu is spread through wild birds. So how do we make sure that all these barns can protect against the wild bird flu? The second thing is, how do we quickly repopulate? Under Biden and Obama, a lot of rules and regulations were put on these chicken farmers, and it just takes a lot longer than it should to get hens back into the hen house and laying eggs again. Third, what can we do, again, on that deregulation piece regarding repopulation, but also just regarding egg farming in general and chicken farmers in general? That's a massive piece of this, and we're rolling back a lot of those rules. Fourth is, are there short-term import eggs that we can do? We're already we've announced a deal with Turkey, other countries around the world to get eggs in immediately and onto the shelves. And then fifth, which is longer term, but perhaps the most important, is how do we address the bird flu? It is highly pathogenic. It moves through the air, and it's really, really affecting our farmers. So we've got a pretty big, massive plan we rolled out this week at the White House, and I look forward to implementing that. But listen, there is no short-term fix. Tomorrow, I wish I could, you know, snap my fingers and go to the grocery store, Rachel, and your eggs are back down to $2 a dozen from $5 or $8, or in California, $12. But we are on it, and we're working night and day to solve it.
Well, I have chickens in my backyard. Sean started that. And yesterday I went out. They just started laying. And yesterday I got 5 eggs. I guess my question, if you could make it just really quick because I'm out of time, is part of the solution more small farms? Because when avian flu hits and you have these giant industrial farms and these chickens, which I don't think the eggs are as good anyway, is part of it just investing in smaller farms, encouraging that?
I think the silver lining in all of this is, how do we, in our backyards, we've got chickens too in our backyard, how do we solve for something like this? And people are sort of looking around thinking, wow, well, maybe I could get a chicken in my backyard. And it's awesome. I agree with you.
Yeah, I think everyone who isn't a farmer right now wants to be. So you're in the right department, Brooke.
I am. What a blessing. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. Thank you.
Take care.